He didn't say a word to her. He didn't say a word to her. Now, we're talking about feelings. We're talking about emotions. And here's this woman crying out to Jesus about her daughter. And he didn't say a word. Do you think that was cruel? We know Jesus as one who's always taking and healing and delivering and setting people free. But all of a sudden, this lady runs up on him. And when she runs up on him and she starts crying out to him, and he doesn't say a word. So my question is, would your feelings be hurt? Would your feelings be hurt if you ran up to Jesus and asked Jesus to heal your family members and you didn't get a word? Would your feelings be hurt if you ran into the church and asked the pastor to pray for you and you felt that the pastor didn't even hear you? You felt that the pastor just walked by you? Would your feelings be hurt? Can you pass the test? Because this was a test. This is the test that she was going through. And it might not have been a good time for her at that moment. And then you say, well, if you want to act that way, I never asked you for anything else. I'm one, or they don't want to do. Am I the only one that came and was looking for help and you didn't get the help that you were looking for, and then you walk away mad, and say, guess what? I ain't coming back here no more. I ain't going to ask for help no more. See, we have to learn how to get out of our feelings. See what's going on, because it just simply felt like Jesus just totally dismissed her. But we, as Christians, we all know he was going into different cities of Israel, and he goes to the oppressed. He goes to those who are down low. He goes to those that are in need. He heals them. He feeds them. He makes the blind to see. He makes the lame to walk. And yet, when this woman come up to him, he doesn't say nothing. And it's interesting because I was looking at this, and we were talking about, like, why would they put this in the scripture this way? Because maybe there's a lesson to be learned. Maybe we need to stop reading over things so quickly and begin to slow down and begin to look at it and begin to look at it a little differently. Because I'll be honest, I preached this is new to me. This was touching me. This was talking to me, because I'm like, good Lord, what's going on here? And then, what is really interesting is that Jesus didn't say a word, and yet she was a Gentile woman, and she was just looking for Jesus to bless her, and then the deacons came up, and the deacons came up and said to her, she cries after us. Send her away. And so now the deacons, I'm saying deacons, but we know it's the disciples. The disciples was actually trying to kick this lady to the curb and trying to move this lady to the side. I would have quit the church. I would have walked out and said, I ain't going back in there, guess what? Because I ain't going back in there, guess what? I know I'm going to heaven. I just don't have to go to this church. But yet, she stayed. She stayed. A woman, oh my God, this woman not have feelings? No. She did. She had a need, and she needed something to happen, and she needed Christ to step in the midst, because she knew only Christ is the one that could supply the need. The life of her child was in danger. Now I could talk to moms, because moms are a little more easier to understand that if something's wrong with your child, No matter what anybody else says, you're praying for your child. You're standing in the gap for your child. And you're standing in the gap for your child. So it didn't matter how she felt, because she had a need, and the need was to get her daughter healed. So I don't know. I really don't know how many of us would have passed those tests. I don't know how many of us would have stood there and allowed things to happen around us, and it seems like nobody's really listening to us. Nobody seems like nobody really cares. And for the disciples to just feel like, hey, get away from us. You're getting on our nerves. You're crying after us. You're too loud, and we don't want all that. Just move on. Yeah. I guess nobody ever felt that way in here. I guess nobody really and wounded. And this is a joke between me and my wife. It's like when you get to that point where you know you've been wounded, you need Christ, and you know that these disciples are just standing in your way. They're trying to stop you from getting your blessing. So the question is, what is standing in your way to keep you from getting your blessings? What is standing in your way? Do you need help? What is standing in your way? Do you need a good report?